Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I'm your host, Joe. We've got a packed episode tonight. I'm just going to go alphabetically down the Discord list. Aki's here. Big Adam is here. I'm here. Chris is here. Jacob's here. Pernell's here. Stemage is here. And Tim is here. Holy shit, there's a lot of people here.
It's everyone.
A lot of people here. I think it's most of the people who record on the show.
I think it
might be everyone.
Yeah, it is pretty much everyone. I mean, we could get Dave K in here if you wanted, but
just kind of stick a picture of him up in the corner on your Twitch stream or whatever, and there you go. He's here too.
Speaking of Twitch, I should probably change the layout. Yeah, there we go. How's everyone doing? We have a lot of games to talk about, so I figure we'll keep the BSing down to a kind of a minimum. But how was everybody's weekend?
That's the plan, huh?
Yeah, I try.
My plan, my weekend was pretty simple. It was just Final Fantasy. That's it.
Yeah, very good.
More than one Final Fantasy though, so I got that going for me.
Which ones?
Well, I in a rare turn of events, I purchased Final Fantasy 16 and started playing it immediately instead of putting it on the shelf for 5 years like I've done with Elden Ring. So I started that. I didn't put 30 hours into it like most people did over the weekend, but I did get a fair way in. But then I've also been replaying 9 on the actual PlayStation, and that's been really fun. That's my second favorite one.
You know, it's on the Switch, right?
I beat it on the Switch already, most recently. So I went back and I'm like, I'm gonna do this one that came with the mouse pad.
Jeez.
That mouse pad that I won from the SML podcast. It was years ago. It was before any of y'all's time, except Stemage.
No,
what's on it? What's on the mouse pad?
It's from. Let me guess. Hold on. Let me guess.
Yeah, guess.
Is it from Record of Agarest War?
What? No,
no. Okay.
Oh, Final Fantasy 9 mouse.
Final Fantasy 9. Yeah.
Oh. No. I didn't. I mean, that's the only video game mouse pad I've ever known Joe to have / give away. So
I keep the booby mouse pads for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe wouldn't let that go. No. This is just it was just a lenticular, shiny mouse pad with some of the characters of Final Fantasy 9 on it. It was some kind of pre-order bonus back in the year 2000, and yeah, it was part of a box of stuff that I got for winning a contest before I was part of the show.
Lenticular is a very good word.
It is, and it perfectly describes what it is.
My gaping butthole.
It doesn't describe anything else except exactly what it is, which is nice.
Can you move your fingernail across it and it make little zippy noises?
Yes.
Nope.
Lenticular.
Go back to sleep.
Also nice, we got to give a shout out to Javors, who just rated us with 32 poor people who have to sit through this.
You don't know what their finances look like.
That's true. Okay, 32 rich people.
They're going to be a wreck after donating biddies to our show.
Who could type !merch and spend their rich person money on a mouse pad.
Nice.
If there was an SML podcast mouse pad, I would have it.
There is.
And by the way,
I would too.
The lenticularness.
It should be a booty one, and it should be Joe's
lenticularity.
No. But no, we just have a plain ass mouse pad with butter, my cat on it, and the SML logo.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy that.
See, browse our merch store. There's some cool shit on there.
Well, I saw it at one point, but I must have missed butter, the mouse pad.
See, I like Aki's. I like Aki's idea where we make it like a gel one, and then it could just have Jacob's gaping butthole around the center.
Oh.
No.
No,
you already have a shirt. Leave it at that.
God damn it.
So,
Grant, the shirts are apparently good quality from
good.
Carl and Jesse, the guys who ordered the Ball Squad shirts.
Oh, that's awesome. I still have to get mine. Thanks for the reminder. Going right now.
So anyway, the mouse pad, Final Fantasy 9.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, for those who don't know, a lenticular thing is like kind of that fake 3D where they kind of like make this shimmery kind of image out of some weird kind of plastic, and it's like, so it's kind of a hologram thing. So you tilt it, and it's like you see a slightly different thing, and then you tilt it again. You can never quite get it to work exactly
cool.
right. Yeah, that's a lenticular 3D type thing, but the weird thing is that the type of plastic used to make it doesn't actually work with laser mice, only ball mice.
Oh,
Oh man.
My classic Mario Paint mouse will work with the mouse pad, but not my cool glowy gamer mouse. So that's a fun fact for y'all.
Oh geez, I forgot about that mouse pad. Anyone else have an eventful weekend?
I had a bunch of Zelda, basically, and did like some like yard stuff. But yeah, I'm at the point where I can't stop thinking about it. The
yard?
Yeah, I know that.
But the yard and the game, to be truthful. Yes, Joe. So yeah, I'm in deep.
I mean, I could tell you the good, the bad, or the both. Your call.
On what, the yard?
No,
well, you went to too many games.
Yeah, that's what
that
I'm
could
saying.
take up a whole lot of time.
So the good, I'll go with that. So that's what the answer was. Yes, I went to too many games last weekend. We had a panel set up there. Funny part was I wasn't as much as jazzed to go in typical as I am in typical years because just don't quite feel the vibe as I used to when I go to conventions. But I had a good time at this one. Our panel was probably the best we've had since we started doing panels there. In fact, I'd say the convention across the board was a vast improvement over previous years. The hosts, Paul and Heather, did a really freaking good job with it this year. I would say,
very nice.
I feel like the board gaming section, because I went back on Saturday for the board gaming element, that's an up-and-coming section, but it got a lot of like people using it on Saturday. It just now needs more community support to come out for it, too. I went out there, gave Sheriff of Nottingham a second chance. That was like the one board game I couldn't understand why people liked it. Now I get it. It was a lot of fun. People were yelling at each other. And even though I suck at bluffing in games, I decided to play the game. Sheriff of Nottingham is all about like lying to get contraband through a gate, who is like a judge of sorts. And I made an effort to just play the game as honest as possible so I wouldn't have to lie to people. Came in second place, and the one time I tried to lie, I failed miserably. So it was like, well, just play it straight the whole game. You got contraband? No, because I don't want to have to deal with you reading my face. Just take my shit. You want to bribe me? No, I'm giving you what I said. Why the hell would I bribe you? Keep my money. And it'd be a lot of fun. So convention food prices still suck balls. My friends, I still had a good time seeing my friends running booths there. Prices for video games in the retro scene are still obscenely high.
What is
they had a gotcha force
game you saw there?
I didn't go to the booth where they had Goemon's Great Adventure for $3,500 like last year. So this year it was probably the gotcha. Yeah, that was freaking redunk. This year it was probably the gotcha force without a manual for $500.
That hurts my soul that I used to own.
Not a manual, man.
What's Gotcha Force again?
That was the game on the Nintendo GameCube where you played as a person, like a human, who commanded a squad of toys who battled against other toys in various like rooms and houses and such. And it was freaking cool. Though it's funny because back when it came out, reviewers panned it. Like they just trash talked and said it was kind of mediocre at best. Now the game is a huge cult classic. Which is funny because it's a cult classic no one talks about. No, I actually played it and liked it a lot. Like, it's one of those games where you didn't buy it expecting to be like a 9 out of 10 as far as like scope of quality goes. You bought it for the experience it was supposed to provide, and it does a great job of giving you that. It has a good variety of different toys and classes of toy. You build a squad based on like ranking of the units, and then you have them battle each other in big spaces. Like it flows very well. I feel like a revisit to that game with higher assets would yield a fantastic product. But as it is, it's still a lot of fun. So Is it worth $500? What game is? None. That's what. But it's still fun to play, and I am glad I kept it and didn't sell it like I did a lot of other stuff back in the day. So,
did you buy anything?
And that,
you spend any money?
God, no. Did I just tell you?
Well, I figured you might have come away with something.
I'm teasing. Well, I mean, rephrase that. I did buy something after all. I felt guilty as I was leaving. I was like, I should get something, but nothing retro game related. Then I bought something retro game related. Nintendo cartridge coasters. I got one for Castlevania 3, one for Mario 3, one for Ninja Gaiden, and one for Turtles 2, the arcade game. And
I was waiting to say you bought a board game, and I was going to yell at you.
I almost did, so in your face. They had a game I wanted called Weather Machine by Vita Lacerda, but they had a used copy for $120, in which case I said, kiss my ass. Don't get me wrong, the game retails for like $150, but I wanted it on sale because I'm not paying $150 for a game. I'm not making that kind of money. I don't have rich kid strats over here, to quote Chris. But what I do have is a love of games, a lack of space for games, like legitimately lacking space for games, man. Like I have a game in every room of the house but the bathroom. It's ridiculous. And on one hand, I'm not ashamed of it anyway, but I also know it can't stay this way forever. So I am still going to my game group where we kind of play one unopened board game every 2 weeks. One new person brings it each time, and as I play games, I determine does it stay or does it go. And if it goes, well, I haven't decided what to do with those yet. They're just kind of stacked up in a place where I'm going to eventually probably dump them in the street with a "Take Me" sign or some jazz. But
donate them to MagFest.
No, you're not. You're going to give them to me for MagFest charity donations. I can sell them for money.
Some weird bastard gave us this game. What do I bid? Okay, don't put your hands up at once. God damn, it's a good game. We swear, just take it.
You have to understand that I have sold literal garbage for hundreds of dollars.
Okay, new question.
Who donates what is it doesn't matter anything. I have sold
What's the biggest garbage you got? You gotta express it. Biggest crapload item you sold for how much?
I sold a half scrap of paper for $165.
Was anything written on the scrap of paper?
No.
No secret codes?
No.
Was it attached originally to an actually important document?
It was shit paper. And I sold it for $165.
How do you even speak that up? Like, hey, my next item is...
codes for that solitaire game? If so, donate it to the charity.
Oh, geez,
who's
3D Solitaire.
Go back to sleep, Augie.
3D Solitaire, like the PC game?
There was an Xbox game that like a bunch of us got codes for to give away, and there was a point where our one friend had like 30 codes for it.
Amazing.
I think he's run through the supply, though. I think he's out.
Like, who likes solitary? Let's not all raise our hands at once, you bastards.
Fun fact, Ryan Niemiller, one of our friends of the show, loves that game.
I mean, solitary is solitary. I mean, if you like it, you like it. Just, this is solitary in 3D.
I'm like hundreds of hours put into this game. Yeah, he doesn't fuck around with it. But
so
anyway,
he's like his new Minesweeper.
We're on a tangent right now.
You opened
That's
this
the
Pandora's
magic
box, Joe.
I know.
That's the magic.
I will say that if you haven't seen Big Adam in action at these things, I think I saw a bit of the auction this past year with Big Adam and Dak running all over the room. It's pretty amazing to see. So,
did you see the end of the auction?
No, I was on a plane at like 6
It's on YouTube.
Adam, can you explain to us what you did at the end of the auction this past MagFest?
So here's the thing that I don't think really anybody understands is the auction is basically a fever dream. So I actually have to go back and rewatch it. So like I don't know what you're referring to.
I meant how there were just garbage bags of shit and you were just like throwing more. You would just reach behind and just like grab a stack of 12 of the same movie and be like, these are in the pile. And then you would turn around and be like, here's a water bottle. That's in the fucking pile.
So like, yeah, okay. So like one of the last things that we did was like we auctioned off a suite and a bunch of badges for MagFest. It's the super VIP experience. And like I'll give people a private tour of backstage of MagFest and kind of take them where they want to go, answer any kind of questions they want to know, tell them whatever kind of stories they want. And as that, gets bid up, I'll add stuff to it to quote unquote sweeten the pot, which really is me getting rid of garbage that nobody wants. I have like 6,000 Blu-ray movies with basically an unlimited supply past that. We found this like secondhand
coming right now. You said that.
Yeah, we found like this like DVD or Blu-ray like warehouse retail seller that just gives us all their overstock that they would throw away anyway. So that's pretty cool. And then like Cards Against Humanity gave us a bunch of their Hanukkah socks that they didn't sell, and Sanshi sent us like 3 literal pallets of overstock that they were going to throw away. And it's basically like my sales pitch to major companies to get a bunch of free crap to donate is, hey, I know that you're going to throw a bunch of shit away at the end of the year for tax purposes. Throw it away into my warehouse.
Yeah, raid your own dumpster and send it to Big Adam.
Basically. I'll even pay you for the shipping. Just empty your warehouse into mine, please. And then I sell it for way, way, way more than they were retailing it for. Because honestly, the thing is, like, yes, it's for charity, right? But like, we have learned, Dak and I have learned that the auction is more of an experience than an opportunity to buy something. And if you make it ridiculous and you make it insane and you make people feel in on the joke, they're going to open their wallets way deeper for charity than they would if they feel like it's just like a retail opportunity. So we try to make it as wacky and fun as possible.
Love it.
Yeah. It's not about the auction, it's about the experience. Or it's not about the thing they're winning. Yeah.
Right.
Is someone connecting something on a Switch or something?
Yes.
Oh,
busted.
I heard the do. I'm like, is that like, do I have another tab open? No, I just Pernell on a Switch.
Is that what you heard? That
I'm going to play solitaire.
Now I can't hear it. So, that's funny. Shit. So, a lot of reviews. Should we get into the reviews, or did anyone else have anything they
you tried to make this quick, and then you fucked it up.
I did.
I was going to talk about my weekend.
Oh, God. What did you do on your weekend?
All right. So, anyway, first game up to review is...
Fuck off. All right. So, my folks watched the kids for 2 nights, and so my wife and I had an empty house for the weekend, and it was fantastic. Like, we actually went out on dates, which we haven't done in forever. We watched an R-rated movie at nighttime with the sound up. All right, we don't get to do that often. I mean, the kids are still young and still come down and shit like that. But I finally got to watch Nobody, and then we also watched the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, I like that one.
It's so good.
Which one are we saying so good about?
I like Dungeons and Dragons. I still need to see Nobody. It's still on my list of shame.
Nobody was really good. I really enjoyed it. Dungeons and Dragons, I thought was it was fine. Like,
don't spoil
if somebody
anything.
What's up?
Don't spoil anything.
No, I'm not going
Sitting
to.
on my shelf waiting to be watched.
I thought it was a fun romp, but it was nothing magnificent. At the same time, it was still legions better than the 2000 movie. So, which I know is a very low bar anyway, but
they made another 2 of them.
Yeah, I know, and you can't get them anymore. Like the second one got a DVD release, and the third one never even got a release here stateside. And I think the
first 2 is something that leads us to our reviews.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, we're getting to these. First games to talk about tonight are Pikmin 1 and 2, developed and published by Nintendo, released June 21st on Switch as individual titles for $29.99 each, or as a package for $49.99. Revisit the roots of Pikmin series, and the first 2 classic expeditions are now available on the Switch. Reintroduce yourself to the plant-like Pikmin and strategic gameplay that this charming series is known for. Tim, you played Pikmin 1. Chris, you played Pikmin 2. What do you guys think of these games? How do they hold up?
I mean, if it's cheaper to buy the 2 of them together, you should just probably buy the 2 of them together, right?
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Need
I didn't realize it was a cheaper as a package. So yeah, you just probably cut to the chase, really.
Need a little more.
It's like I need every Pikmin on the Switch except for 2.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, there was during that Nintendo Direct, I discovered that Pikmin 1 and 2 weren't already on Switch. Like they announced that they're like coming today, and I'm like, yeah. And then I remembered like, oh, they I realized of course they weren't already there. Anyways, Pikmin 1 is a GameCube game that I treasure. I really like the first one quite a bit. It was an early GameCube game that came out within like the first couple months launch window, I guess one would call it. So of course I picked it up because it was a, GameCube exclusive game. If somehow you're not familiar with Pikmin, you're like, it's about your little space dude, may vary by game, who gets, who is going to an alien world to explore or get stranded, one of the two. In the first one, he's getting stranded there. His ship gets hit by like a rock and the parts go all over the place. And he finds these little critters that look like plants, but they're not. They're alive. They're sentient. Not good for vegetarians to eat, probably. And these little guys are going to help him traverse the environment, battle dangerous creatures, and get his shit back together. And get off this planet. So in the first one, there's 3 different types of Pikmin. There's your reds, which are good at killing things because they got spiky noses and they're resistant to fire. You got your yellow ones, which you can throw higher. I guess they're a little bit lighter on the inside and they can carry bombs. They are demolitions experts. And there's the blue ones that can get wet and not drown. Other ones will drown horribly. If you try to parade them through water, horribly, it will make you feel bad. So
this game will definitely make you feel bad while you're learning it.
For real. I thought I was going to feel that again going back to it now, but I felt no remorse over some Pikmin eating it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm over it at this point, guys. Let's just get through this. At a certain time in my life, every Pikmin life was precious, but we're not there anymore. If a few of you get snacked up by one of the little ladybug looking things, like, hey, it happened. I do still feel bad if I leave them behind at night, though. Then I feel like a shitbag. Because they didn't even die in the line of duty. They just died because I forgot them somewhere on the planet. So anyways, the first one is distinct because it has a time limit. You have 30 day nights to, just days because you can't explore at night. You have 30 days to get your ship back together and get off of the planet. Which I think all of the later ones don't do that. They still have a day-night cycle, but you're just fighting against how much you can get done in a day. There isn't like a hard end point to it. Though I don't think, I know some people sweat that. I remember the first time I played the game, I beat it with days to spare and got all the parts. And on subsequent playthroughs, I was getting, way fewer than 30 once I figured out how to navigate and manage my Pikmin. But you'll use the Pikmin to like knock down walls. You use it to build bridges. You'll use them to, fight monsters. You'll get little pellets. And whenever they drag like corpses and these little pellets back to their ships, then you'll get more Pikmin. You can power them up by leaving them in the ground longer so that they get more nutrients from the sun, or they can get drugged up on sweet nectar you can find in grass pouches or bugs carrying them around. There's a real, kind of weird whimsy to the game with both like the music and the way you're finding objects around. It is an Earth-like planet with Earth-like objects. Sitting about, so there's a fun little weirdness to it as you're navigating around. But as your ship becomes more powerful, you'll unlock more areas that you need to explore and navigate with more dangerous monsters hanging about. But Pikmin still, like, playing this game, it looks the way I remember it did over 20 years ago at this point. I always thought it was a pretty good looking game, but it looks nice and sharp on the old Switch screen. Controls well. No real surprise there. This is appears to be a port of the Wii version. So you have motion controls if you want. I guess if you want, they're there. But I'm happy with playing the controls. What's that?
Touch screen control and all?
I don't think so. I didn't touch it, but I don't think that's there or would make sense. I think it works perfectly fine with just using controls. So I think Pikmin 1 has held up.
No touch controls.
Yeah, has held up pretty well. How about Pikmin 2?
So Pikmin 2, well, apparently the plot of sorry, one sec. I undocked my Switch for a second to test the touchscreen thing. So yeah, apparently the story of Pikmin 1 must have been a real lore heavy, because they summarize it in about 3.5 seconds in the second game. Spoilers: Olimar gets back to his planet and instantly gets I guess he works for a company that I don't know, does stuff like a delivery company, I think a shipping company. And his ship gets repossessed. His company owes like 10,000 money units to evil corporation or something, and so the idea of it is that since Olimar reported back finding treasures, like bottle caps and crushed cans and whatnot on his last adventure, his boss has the brilliant idea to send him back to the planet or to a similar planet. I didn't quite catch. And go do the same thing, this time with a focus on gathering treasures. So, yes, as Tim says, the time limit is no longer there because literally the boss reasons, you don't really have there's not really a time limit on this one because we don't have anything else they can take. The ship was our only asset, so take your time. By the way, they give you a junk ship to fly out here with. That's why you have like a rocket in the first place, and the onion, which is the thing that I guess that's where the corpses go in and little Pikmin come out, into the ground. And by the way, I didn't know that you could leave the Pikmin cooking for a while and make them more powerful. That's a good tip. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Have you not played any Pikmins before?
No, I've never played a Pikmin. Oh, okay. So this is my first
fresh.
One.
Totally fresh.
Yeah, totally fresh.
I've played the first one a lot, and I've at least touched 2 and 3.
Yeah,
played some levels.
I've only seen the first one played, so I've never even seen the second one. And yeah, I'm gonna buy the third one too. So spoilers. Anyways, so this game introduces a couple of other things in the frame of gathering treasure. For one, Pikmin now has a buddy. Pikmin. What am I saying? Olimar has a buddy called Louis. Louis. He's just a second guy. You can separate him from Olimar. You can take Pikmins to different places, and certain levels will have puzzles that you solve in tandem. As they introduce Louis, you're faced with one such puzzle. So they kind of start that off like that. Like I said, still day and night cycles. If you defeat enemies, they're worth like next to nothing in terms of money. What you really want are treasures. And I really love the names of some of the treasures. I'm going to go over some of my favorites in a second. But yeah, the citrus lump is what they call an orange. Just amazing. And I just picked up an NES D-pad, and I need to see what it was called. But anyways, you gather up treasure, which is still junk, but it's worth stuff. And basically, presumably, once you get to 10,000, then you're done. So the other thing that they introduce, like I said, framed in the treasure hunt, is that you can now go into caves, which present little room-by-room challenges, and the timer stops in those rooms, so you can just do this at will. Take yourself a team down there, fight some heftier enemies, but it gives you a chance to transform some of your red Pikmin into purple Pikmin, which are new to this game. They are very heavy, and so if you have a situation where you need to weigh down a paper bag, for instance, a purple Pikmin weighs as much as 10 red Pikmin. So, basically there's kind of a collecting the heavier Pikmin in order to, progress further in the stages. However, these purple Pikmin are not fireproof. So, if you run into fire hazards, then you gotta blow your whistle to blow out their leafy heads, else they burn. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's got the cave system in there. It's got the new Pikmins in there. It's got no time limit. Generally,
the white Pikmin too.
Yeah, the white Pikmin. I haven't run across them yet, but yes,
they're resistant to poison. And,
yes,
and
they do introduce poison pretty early on too. So, there's isn't there another? I think they just changed the nature of like the other Pikmin. I think the yellow Pikmin are just like immune to electricity now or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They added like I think a little bit of some abilities. In that one layered upon. I don't think there was electricity in the first one.
Another thing that is introduced apparently in the second game is that there is a 2-player competitive mode that you can play and check out if you so desire. And yeah, like I said, there's basically no options in the game. It's just sound options. However, if you throw up the controller diagram that shows you what the controls are, there actually is a little toggle for motion controls. So it doesn't do motion controls out of the gate. You have to actually turn it on, and it's annoying. I don't recommend using it, but if you want to, it works both when the Switch is docked and undocked. Basically, you have to hold down like the A or B button, and then you aim the system itself to move the target so that you can throw your Pikmin. The only benefit to this is that it actually does reach farther than using just the control stick, but I haven't found any situation where it's been all that needed, so I don't know. That is a thing they added though. The game is extremely fun. I actually quite like it. I definitely feel like getting the second game was a better option for me because I like a nice casual pace and not having like an oppressive, Harvest Moon like time limit overall in the game. So that's kind of cool. I really like this one.
No, the games are available individually for $30 each or as a package for $50. What do you two think of this?
I think you should just get the package, really, at this point.
Yeah, package is going to be the best deal for, honestly. It's, you are going to save like $10 total, I guess. But I mean, it feels to me weird to have a system that's going to have 4 Pikmin games on it. And, I only have 3 of the 4 or something like that. But having said, if you're going to pick just one, I mean, it kind of sounds like all things being equal, the second game might give you more for the money. But again, that's my own bias, having reviewed that one. I would say
I prefer the first one, which is why I chose that one to review. Yeah. I don't like the second one quite as much. I didn't like the underground sequences. I think those are procedurally generated, so I felt, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played it. So I wasn't as much of a fan of those particular parts.
I like that, especially when it's part of like a game that isn't entirely procedurally generated. It's the Lufia fan in me. I got to have my ancient cave, and so that kind of got me into it. So I enjoy that part of it. But yeah, it looks like we're a house divided on which single one to get. So you better just get both of them to make us both happy.
Yeah, and
just you're gonna like one more than the other. It's up to you to figure it out by buying them both.
Some important info to mention with that discount is it does not apply if you buy them separately. You have to buy the bundle to save $10.
Yeah. That's kind of like the general rule when it comes to Twitch. Twitch. What am I saying? Switch.
Twitch.
I'm looking at the chat on Twitch, and so I saw the word Twitch and
Nintendo Twitch.
Nintendo Twitch.
Yeah!
Jinx. Jinx.
All right. Well, Tim, that is it for you. You gonna stick around, or are you gonna head out?
No, I'm gonna head out. There's already enough voices in this chat. I think y'all can handle it.
Including the ones I'm hearing in my head.
Yeah, have a good night, everybody.
Nighty night.
Good night.
Poof.
He was gone before we even got a chance to reply. Like, good night, click, bye.
Apparently, all that Pikmin management took him out. Evan, ooh.
Are you done?
No.
Anyway,
just for you, we'll stop. There you go.
We need Pernell to go on a tangent about like the origins of different versions of Goodbye and
do we really need that?
Fucking yeah!
Oh, of course, I always need a good Pernell tangent.
Alviderze.
Listen here, fuck snort.
All right, we're getting the show back on track. Next game to talk about is Crash Team Rumble, developed by Toys for Bob, published by Activision, released June 20th on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC for $29.99. Get ready to dash, jump, slide, and bounce into an all-new way to Crash. Crash Team Rumble takes Crash Bandicoot a brand new direction, placing the series' iconic heroes and villains into a 4v4 team-based competition. Players will duke it out across diverse and dangerous maps as both teams race to be the first to collect and bank enough Wumpa fruit to claim victory. Jacob and Pernell, both you check this out. Jacob, how about you start? What's going on in Crash Team Rumble?
Well, shouldn't we have Pernell start? Because I reviewed the beta.
Okay, then Pernell.
Oh, that means I'm about to ask why you should start, but that's fine. I can do it. Whatever. Thought you were going to be happy about having second billing, but I kid about it all. Anyway, Crash. So the idea behind this game is it is a multiplayer fest where you play as one of a multitude of characters from the Crash franchise they put in there. Not all of the good ones, just some of them. I can say I have to say some for updates or what have you. Where the goal is to acquire Wumpa fruit, which is the game's general one-up collectible, or the franchise's one-up collectible, and getting them back to your home base to score them. Getting 2,000 Wumpa fruit before the other team means you're the victor. Now, a team is composed of 4 characters, or 4 players, and those 4 players can be made up of 3 class types. You have basically the collector types, whose name I don't even remember off the top of my head. I'm just that tired right now. And their whole purpose is they collect fruit. They go out and they collect fruit. Most of their bonuses are recharged based on the fact that they're collecting fruit. So, if anything, I guess the best way to put it is like each of these classes, they can all do a fair general sort of things. Their base moves, they can run, they can jump, they can do a form of dash, and then they can do a sort of like airy dash or something. But then after that is where the actual classes come in. Yeah, the one type, like I said earlier, who collects a bunch of fruit, that's their sole purpose, or a primary purpose. There's another type where their goal is to boost around the map and kind of set off bonuses for the players and just kind of help the other 2 types progress around, maybe setting up walls that provide speed boosts for them, for example, or just opening up and activating score bonus items like the gems, which I'll talk about shortly. And the last jackass type is they're basically the bouncers, and their sole goal is to prevent anyone else from accomplishing anything. They're supposedly slower than the others, but it's made up for by being bulky and, I guess, insurmountable obstacles of sorts.
They also do more damage, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Insurmountable jackass obstacles. They blow.
But to cut it down to the basics, it's basically offense, defense, and support.
Yes, that's the best way to describe them. So, as you're running around the map, there are things that you can do in the game. You're obviously collecting the fruit to score off of. There are portals of sorts hidden on each map, or not hidden, but just on display on each map. And depending on the map you play on, they provide different sorts of bonuses for you. For example, there might be a level where you turn into a beach ball by activating it. And a beach ball allows you to roll over opponents and like knock fruit out of them, or just move around the map quicker. You might find a level where there's a giant tree that you can spawn. And the giant tree just gives you bonus fruit. Kind of nice to have. And so on and so on. There's a lot of different effects like this depending on the map you're playing on. And you activate them by collecting relics that are hidden across them, or not hidden, but on display across the map. Acquire enough, depending on the pad, activate the pad, boom, you're good to go. And then there is, I guess, I think I pretty much nailed it. That's the strangest part of the gems. There we go, the gems. So there's also these gems. If you've played Crash Bandicoot in the past, and most notably for my personal preference, 1 and 2, you know that the gems in that game represented, like, you're basically activating for like bonus platforms to get to secret areas. But in this game, you step on a sequence of the gems to sort of control them, like area control, and you activate a score bonus for a certain period of time. It is a pain in the butt to activate them, though, because you jump on all 3 or 4, depending on the level you're on, and a countdown will start. And if any opponent jumps on one of them, they start to take it over. And even if they don't succeed at taking it over, they still delay your progress. And it is something that noticeable people will do, where they'll just kind of bop on top of a bunch of them, just back and forth, just to keep you from taking what you want. It drives me crazy. But it is a contention worth engaging in. So you will pretty much be doing these things over and over again, activating bonuses, collecting Wumpa fruit, setting them on the stations, and ultimately getting to the score bonus before the opposing team does. Once you've reached a goal, the game ends. The game will display all your bonus stats. and then you will level up depending on how much experience you earn from various like in-game goals that they have made available for you. Leveling up provides you, depending on how you level, because you can level up as a whole, and you can also level up per character you use. Mostly you're getting, cosmetics and things that make you look different and stand out from the crowd. But other times, depending on how early in the game you are, you'll also unlock other characters of the team of the different types. There are, I want to say, about three character types per class in the game right now. So a total of like 9 characters available to play as. And the game is fun to play. I don't want to go so far to say it's not good, but there's 2 issues I have with it. One, even if you use the bonus attacks that you can use as cooldown, that do cooldown, but even using those, I feel like there's still a need for serious balancing here that may happen over time, and maybe it's just I had crappy teams when I was playing it, but the vast majority of the time I played this game, if the other team had 2 bouncers or 2 blockers, I'm just going to call them bouncers because it just sounds appropriate. But if the game, they have 2 bouncers and even one of them is guarding your actual base, like they're just camping it, unless that level has a bonus tile that gives you semi-invincibility when you activate it, good freaking luck getting a scorer to come in and drop off fruit. You will not succeed. And it is B absolute S. They are blockers and they are doing their jobs. It would be nice if there were more options or things available for scorers to get around them. Though I get also why there aren't. Because the whole point of a blocker is to defeat a scorer, which means you need support most likely to come in and help a scorer get in. But never happened for me because synergy ain't happening. So the hell with bouncers. I hate them. The other thing is that, quite frankly, like I said, I feel like even though there's a bit of variety in the different levels and such, I do feel like it starts to get a little samey for me. I couldn't perceive myself playing this game for more than maybe 30 minutes to an hour at a time. Now, don't get me wrong. In some respects, that's called healthy boundaries. I mean, don't play a game too long. But at the same time, I will say, if you're the type of person who wants to get down with a marathon session, you might find yourself wondering what else is there to this game once you've experienced 3 or 4 maps out of the 9 or so and find out this is what it is. This is the game. There's nothing new to discover. But I had fun playing it aside from those 2 things. I can't complain so much there. And I'm assuming that future season updates will provide additional content. So,
Jacob, what are your thoughts? What did you think of this? You played the beta. So, do you think enough changed from the beta?
No. Like, and I know Pernell was like, I'm not going to outright trash this game. I will. All right. Matchmaking sucks. Like, it takes way too long for me to be able to start a new game. It doesn't explain what you're supposed to do beyond the little tutorial, which is very bare bones. All right, here's the rules. There you are.
Bring it back.
Yeah, all right. But the thing is, it doesn't let you mess with the other classes. Like you're stuck as Crash, and that's it.
So I might be wrong here, but what I believe you had to do was you choose a character. And then you go select a tutorial after you change your character, and it gives you the details for that character.
Okay, well, maybe I've been playing the tutorial wrong then.
Don't get me wrong, I get that it would be hard to spot because it should let you select.
The menus aren't conducive at all. Like when you're sitting, the very first time that I sat there in the multiplayer lobby, I just sat there not doing anything, and the game actually had to bring up a warning. Hey, we're starting the game in 25 seconds. You really need to choose a player and a power. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to. I thought I was already assigned this stuff. And then on top of it, I've only seen the beach level. That's literally the only one I've seen in matchmaking, which, and all every single game that I've played, I just get completely shut out. And this isn't I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's fun. And on top of it, I think it's a really poor use of the Crash IP.
That I agree with.
I agree with.
This has no, it didn't make the case for its existence back in the beta, and the final release did nothing to improve it. I feel like I'm just playing the same crap. It's now just a retail version of it, and I still don't know why it's out. This was I think it's a complete misfire for the brand. But no, I don't know. I don't like it.
I kind of disagree with a few of your points. Like, a lot of that stuff that you complained about is just trial and error. Like, that's part of playing a game. You just learn by playing.
No, I'm fully aware of that. Like, I've played plenty of multiplayer games before, but it's just like this. Like,
I thought the game was approachable. I thought it was easy to get into. I thought it looked great. It played well. There's just no soul behind it. It doesn't feel like there's a reason for this game to really exist. Like, I feel
like in that regard, you kind of agree with Jacob then, because it's one of those things where it's like, even if we sit here and we're like, well, it's kind of okay to run around and collect the fruit and deliver it. It's like you both said. You play the game and you've been familiar with the Crash franchise. And you come away going, why is this? Like, I remember reading online at one point that this was originally intended to be a mini game in Crash 4. And to me, that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
If it had been a mini game, then yeah, that would have been fine. Or like,
it was
whatever. But it's just
$10 expansion for Crash 4. I think that would have been fine. I think even at a budget price of $30, I think they're asking too much. I think it should have been a free to play if they're going to have microtransactions. I don't know what they're going to do with future monetization and stuff like that. We'll find out as time goes on.
The thing is that it's just, I simply don't find the game fun at all. Like, especially when it's just how quickly the one-sided the games get. Like, forget it. Like, I never after you get crushed, like the other team scores over 2,000 and like your team barely got 600. Like why would I want to play again?
We'll ask you if
this was like a free to play game, then yeah, like I might be like, all right, whatever. But $30? No,
I do want to ask you this though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even really disagreeing with you on a number of things you said. But the one thing I want to ask is, like, for example, what I mentioned earlier about what bugged me about it primarily being mainly balancing things. What was something aside from just a general game state of we're getting crushed? Like, give me an example of something where you're like, what the hell is even happening here?
I mean, like the heavies like coming in, it is just like. And granted, I mean, like, part of it is like the people that you're playing against, assuming that they're actual people. I've had a few where they were definitely bots, like in matchmaking, because the game will do that to fill up the holes on the team. And like, that's another thing. If you got a bot, forget it. Like, you're done. Like, you're not going to be winning. But it's just like for the heavies, which are supposed to be slow, like they seem to be exactly at the same speed as Crash, as Crash's thing, and on top of it, they hurt a heck of a lot more. So then, what the heck's the point of even playing as Crash if like?
That's a good point too,
if the heavies are just going to like be the same thing, but just on steroids. Like,
yes, and did you get that one that was a dingo dial? Like, dingo dial has like a vacuum cleaner.
But Joe, the thing is that like if it's heavy, these guys actually need to be fucking slower.
No.
This game has major balance issues, and
so,
it's just no.
Like, to give, like, I remember one point. This might have happened to you as well. I was playing as Crash, and I was trying to run around collecting fruit, and I was getting chased by one of the heavies. So I was like, okay, well, I will spin to try to get away from this jerk. He was using dingo dial. So as I'm spinning to get away from him, I was barely making a distance, and then he had a vacuum cleaner attack that pretty much sucked me in. I was like, well, what the heck am I supposed to do? I can't get away from him. I can't attack him. Basically, if he sets his sights on me, I'm kind of screwed.
Once the heavies get on you, you're fucked. Like, and it's just, it feels like no matter what you do, like, and granted, I mean, Pernell, I don't know if you won any of your matches, or Joe, if you won any of yours.
I won a few.
But it's lucky you. Every single time, it was just like, oh, cool, the heavy's on me. Well, I'm fucked. And
what I'll say in regards to what you just said, yes, I have won some matches, but the thing about that statement is it's hard to tell why you won. Because it's a team-based game, but no one's really communicating with each other. Yeah. So you're just kind of doing whatever your game character's role is. And if the bar gets up, you're like, guess we're doing something. Because I could also tell you this too. On my teams when I was generally playing, and you're going to be like, yeah, way to toot your own horn, asshole. But I was primarily the best scorer in at least 2 of the categories, whether we won or lost, which means I was putting in my all. But sometimes it just wasn't happening, and I could not figure out what the secret sauce was, because someone might say, "Oh yeah, team effectiveness," but no one could communicate. So you were just doing what you thought was right, and if you happened to get it, well, you got it. Dave, you pulled me into that. There's a lot of talking about this, because like it was one of those things where it's like I was able to get something out of it for a little bit here and there, but it was like, what I really want to, like, if I'm going to say, hey, am I going to drop the coin? I'd play it for free, which is what I did. And as a free game, I kind of enjoyed it for a little bit, but 30 minutes to an hour at the most at a time. And I'm going to get bored of it because of the things we mentioned. I'm not addicted. I'm not really drawn to it. But if you were to say
judge it as a free game, though, because it's not a free game. Just because
I'm getting that. That's what I'm getting to. I'm getting to that. So when you get to the eventual, so what do you think of this game? The general feedback will be, I enjoyed a little bit of it while I was playing it, but if I had to drop the money that they're asking for, I'm not sure I can recommend it, because the balancing still needs work, like I mentioned before. It doesn't have enough real content to it. All I'm unlocking is more cosmetics to the same base game. There's a few like sub items you can equip and use, but they didn't really do enough to make me go, wow, the game feels so much better now that I got rid of that stupid Venus flytrap. No, it didn't. It didn't matter. It's just like a bunch of people dropping freaking healing refrigerators or healing lockers on the ground. Whoop-de-doo. So it's like I do this with pretty much all the reviews generally, which is that as a general game, it would be a try. But for me, at the full price, I couldn't pay for it. Not even, it wouldn't come close. I'd be buying it on a deep sale or getting it for free.
Well, we know Jacob's a deny it. Sounds like you're a deny it. I'm gonna chime in and agree with you guys that it's not worth picking up right now. If they make it a free to play game, it might be worth checking out. If they throw it on PS Plus or Game Pass, it would be worth giving it a go. I don't think it's balanced enough, and the matchmaking it needs to be worked on. There should not be a bunch of level 1s and 2s and 3s going up against a team that has 2 level 30s.
Yeah.
That's fair. You got matchmaking games like that's really tough, especially with a really small player base.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this game I think is actually definitely in that wheelhouse, because I was wondering for a while, and this is probably the last thing I ramble about with this game, because I know Joe's like, "Come on, you ass!" But the idea that the first thought I had was like, okay, they're charging $30 for this, and this game I could easily see being a free to play game with micros or what have you. So then my question became, in this instance, what are they giving you for paying the $30? Is it the Battle Pass because you earn experience on Battle Pass, which a lot of games you do pay for, or unless you pay to increase the Battle Pass speed, like the Elite Pass or whatever. Is it that? Is it some sort of extra cosmetics that I didn't notice or some jazz?
For the $30, you are getting the game for Xbox One and Series X and S, and the premium Battle Pass for Season 1.
There it is. That's why. So I called it then. Basically, you're paying for the Battle Pass.
Maybe it's a $20 game and you're getting a $10 pass with it. Maybe it's a $30 game and you're getting a $10 pass for free. Who knows what they're doing? But I just don't see the point in doing it.
Who knows what they're doing?
Also, is this the first time 3 reviewers kind of agreed on something on this show?
No. I mean, it seems like for slightly different reasons, but yeah.
It might be the first time 3 people agreed on a deny it, but we've had good games that we've agreed on before.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Jinx, we both said that. Now we can't speak till someone says
I owe you a Coke next time I ever see you.
Anyway, Jacob, that's it for you. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
I just want to say this to Toys for Bob. I've loved your previous games. I'm sorry that I had to shit on this one as much as I do. I hope that your next game is better. So
I hope Activision doesn't dissolve you.
Give me a review of my Skylanders figures again. I'd buy another Skylanders game that just let me use my old shit.
That'll never happen.
Oh, I know, but I'll keep requesting it because it makes sense.
Good luck.
Welcome to the realization that you bought into a gimmick, and that gimmick is hard dead.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I still play the old stuff. It's just no matter how you slice it, the logical play, if you want to really make bank and keep it alive, is to say those things you're sitting on that just work off freaking NF whatever technology, just use it in other games. We can just keep making new games that let you use the same crap you already bought. And it's new games. Like, okay, give me a kart racer.
That is not how the toy industry works by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not denying that, but I also noticed Skylanders is dead. So it's like, there you go.
Exactly. It's a dead IP, and they're never going to bring it back.
Well, changing the subject to a yearly release that is still being supported, the next game to talk about is F123. Developed by Codemasters, published by Electronic Arts, released June 16th on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC for $69.99. Be the last to break in EA Sports F123, the official video game of the 2023 FIA Formula One World Championship. A new chapter in the thrilling Breaking Point story mode delivers high-speed drama, heated rivalries. Adam, tell us about your time with F123.
Okay, so let me do this way, because like I've been thinking about how I wanted to word this. Joe and I had experienced this game together for a little while this afternoon, and he got some of my genuine reactions. But for those that weren't in that specific call, let me ask you just a couple of quick yes or no questions. The first thing is, when you think of a yearly franchise release title from EA Sports, you don't think about big content updates, right? And you definitely would never even consider any kind of storyline. F123 and what Joe had mentioned, Breaking Point, is the storyline-driven mode of this video game for F1 racing. It is actually an incredible story, and I am super hooked in it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm damn sure going to finish it. At first you start and you're playing as the main character, Aiden, who was on a brand new up-and-coming F1 team. You have kind of a dickhead teammate who you find out is the team owner's son, of course. And really, it's all about kind of the trials and tribulations of being on an upstart team who is having issues with their equipment, having issues with their cars, having issues with interpersonal relationships, and the potential opportunities to, like, move up in the world and join one of the larger racing teams, or as they refer to as the Big Three, which is, for those who don't know, Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes, who are the big top players of the F1 racing series. But the way the story is told is like an interview at the very, very end of a season. And the way the gameplay is like it'll flash to like the interview with, let's say, the team manager or the owner. And they'll be talking about something that happened during, week one of the season, and it'll flash back to the season, and it'll have a little cinematic of what's going on, and like, oh no, there's some kind of issue with the car. Oh no, we're taking a weird pit strategy, and it dumps you into the car like halfway through the race, and it gives you updating objectives as you progress through the race. And then when the race is over, or you've gotten to through enough of the objective, it goes back into a cutscene, and it continues on with like a big dramatic story, and it gives you like post-race storyline stuff that happens after the meetings between the teams, the confrontations between the drivers. But it also has stuff where like you have to participate in interviews, and the answers that you give generally affects the morale of the team, It affects, you know, the team's look, the team's reputation, that kind of stuff. And then, like, you go on to the next week, it flashes all the way to the end of the season in the interview. It's whatever person, you know, giving whatever kind of like ESPN-esque interview answers to a couple of questions. And then, bam, you're back in race number 2. Yeah, right before the race for another cutscene that is big, dramatic, you know, blah, 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 blah. It just carries on so on and so forth like that. And then it also flashes you to not only what's going on the F1 team, which is like, you know, the premier team, but it also flashes over to people that they're looking at, which real teams would be doing in the F2 circuit. A little bit of a slower car, a little bit more restriction, different engines, different transmissions, but it's still an open-wheeled race car. And the star of that show is Callie, and she is a feisty little badass. She is crazy cool. She's hardcore. She wins races. She talks crazy amounts of shit. And she's being coached by one of the drivers of Breaking Point, the first series, which is pretty cool. It all kinds of ties into the last set of story from the previous game. All that to say, I didn't think that I'd be walking into F1 playing a very good, well-told storyline. That's not something I expected from an EA sports game, especially something that's released on, like, you know, a yearly roster style update. This game has a lot more than just new liveries and new driver updates. There's just a lot more depth there. I didn't get a chance to experience much of the other stuff in the game. I know, Joe, you played this game as well, and you experienced some of the creative driver stuff. I know you had mentioned to me that you said it was pretty cool. Did you want to go into that a little?
Yeah, I messed around with the standard career a bit. Just that's basic. Just go through a qualifier, then go through a race back to back to back. Not much in the way of story in that. That's just, you know, straight up career. Go through the races.
Yeah, that's your standard racing season kind of thing. Yeah, that makes
F1
sense.
World is the big thing. This is like the new hub where there's like seasonal challenges, and there's a compendium, which is like a virtual sticker album, which I'm still working to unlock. I've been spending all my time doing the career stuff. I haven't been doing much with F1 World, but I have been dabbling in it since I read that that's pretty much where the bulk of the game is. Like, that's where the time trials are. That's
wild.
There's so much to this friggin' game. Like, I
didn't even get into the fact that this game is unbelievably gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. And oh my God, the cinematics for Breaking Point are like actually next level pretty, like to a shocking degree. The work that they put into this game is actually kind of ridiculous. Basically, I don't mean to steal your thunder, Joe, but would I buy this game at full price? Absolutely, twice over. This game has 2 full games worth of content in it. If you enjoy racing games, if you enjoy, especially anything story-driven with racing elements, if open wheel racing is your thing, this is the game. I would say do it. Absolutely buy it at full price. Get your friends in on it. I couldn't actually get over how good this game was. I'm a huge racing game nerd, don't get me wrong. So I'm crazy biased for this kind of stuff. But the depth of content that is available for you to mess with in this it just feels like the well is never ending. And I am absolutely going to be putting more time into this outside of needing to do it for a review. I very much look forward to putting in triple digits of hours on this one.
Yeah, it definitely can be an endless kind of thing, because they have, obviously there's a shop in the game now for your created driver that you could, like,
of course,
get new outfits and new gloves and new helmets and new cars. You could buy different things for the people to say, like, after you win a race. I was telling you, Adam, my guy just goes, yeah, lick the stamp and sent it. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
You said it there like, in like their entrance video, you can pick how they walk, and your guy trips.
Yeah, my guy like steps and falls on his ass when he wins the podium.
So good.
That's hilarious.
So good.
Yeah, it's
just like I love games that are true to what the sport is, but have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, but of course,
I'm real excited for my next review.
I want to ask. I have a couple of questions. I'm really excited about the World Rally Championship. WRC actually got picked up by Codemasters, and they're doing their first game. People think it might be this year, so I've been super interested in this particular version of F1 because they've got the EA support and everything. It sounds like they're killing it.
This game slaps hard.
I want to ask, like, did you get into the? I don't know. Maybe this stuff isn't in as much of the story mode, but I was reading a bit about like kind of loot-like upgrades, like power-ups or things you can. Is it stuff that you buy for your car? Is there anything as far as like more arcadey?
So it's all
upgrades you can.
At least from what I understand, it's a lot of it is cosmetic stuff, just to make your car look awesome. I mean, with any kind of organized racing, especially stuff done by the FIAA, like all the cars performance-wise, as long as they're following the rules, are going to be pretty much identical.
Right.
So like the power, the aero, they all have very stringent rules on what they're allowed to do. So like buying like a booster pack or something like that as like a performance upgrade really wouldn't make much sense to the game.
Yeah, I didn't know
if that is available, like I haven't seen it yet. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean they're basically stock cars. Yeah, I mean they have to be. Yeah, so I was curious. Someone had made a comment about that kind of perhaps some upgrades like that. I didn't know if that was something that was
there is, like Joe was saying, in the store there is a ton of customability options. Not only for your character, but for like the design and like style of your livery. So like with the team that you're racing for and stuff like that.
So how easy is it to make money in the game?
It's not very hard. And that's the cool thing about this game is the assist modes. I should also mention, now that I'm getting into kind of like the control nitty-gritty a little bit, Joe was playing on a controller. Yep. I was actually playing on wheel and pedals.
Fuck yeah.
So I was playing on the standard difficulty. Joe went full story mode and set it to the casual mode, which is totally cool. You know what? Because I am all about game approachability, especially for stuff that is like a really niche hobby that I like, which is racing.
I thought this was a super approachable game. We've had games from Milestone come along where they're super simmy and they're really, really hard to pick up and get into.
Yeah.
And this one from Codemasters, between this, the recent dirt and grid games, I think Codemasters has been doing really good at appealing to all audiences. Something that you've got to try for next time you're on the show. We could maybe do a little update on this. This F123 apparently runs in VR.
It does. I was going to bring that up, and I had my VR set out. I just wasn't feeling all that great this morning, so I didn't do it. I'm not trying to throw up while reviewing a game. I don't think that's a great idea. But yeah,
I don't know. That sounds like that'd be pretty cool to have the VR on and using the wheel.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely done that. VR sim racing is something that I'm big into. I love that, and as a matter of fact, when I build my basement arcade that I have planned, I am going to be investing in a motion simulator for VR sim racing.
I'll be right over.
Yeah,
let's go.
It's going to be sick. Dude, Grant, you can come to my house anytime, homie. You know that.
Oh, I know. I love it.
It's going to be awesome. Yes, hard recommend this game. This game rules. If you like racing games by any stretch of the imagination, this game slaps, and the content pool is so deep.
I saw you can play. You can't get the full game, but on Game Pass, but you can play 10 hours of it, which is cool. They're doing that for a lot of their games.
Game Pass. That's EA Play.
Oh, it's PlayStation.
That's sick.
Yeah, PlayStation. If you have EA Play, there's a time trial. PC. If you have EA Play, there's a time trial. And one other cool thing is it is cross-play between Steam, Epic, Series X and S, and PS5.
Yeah, let's go. I didn't know about the free trial. I demand the listener base go download that. It is absolutely worth the hard drive space for 10 hours of free play. If you don't like it, foo-foo on you then. Delete it.
Cool. Well, Adam, that is it for you.
It is. I'm going to go begin working on my next review title like a responsible reviewer. And
Good
not because
job.
I desperately want to play that video game. I haven't played it yet, so I'm first launching tonight.
Oh, you haven't played it yet, so you could still talk about it.
I haven't even touched it yet. I had to do F1 first. That's my responsibility, dadgummit.
Yeah, you haven't played it, so you're technically not under an embargo.
Wait, is
true.
it? What are you doing?
I'm allowed to say that I have the file though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have AEW Fight Forever, and I love wrestling so much. It's like my favorite thing, and I'm going to play the game forever, and I'm going to play it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are going to be championship holders, and they're going to come to the ring with 100 belts.
And just a reminder, he has not played the game, and therefore is not breaking embargo.
Exactly. I haven't even launched the software yet. I haven't even done the first launch for Steam for the distributables C++ stuff yet.
Yeah,
I haven't even done that.
Meanwhile, I can't talk about the game, so we're going to move on.
Yeah, and that's why Tim left early, because he was terrified of this exact moment.
Yes, he was. So,
all right, I'm going to go get my work done.
July 6th, folks. That's when we'll be talking AEW.
All righty. Thanks for listening. Racing games rule, and
yeah, we got to talk more about racing games, man. I didn't realize you're such a racing game fanatic. I feel very alone in that space, so we're gonna chat it up.
Definitely ping me on Facebook. I am always ready to set the wheel up and go for a spin.
Sweet.
All right, y'all. Have a fantastic day, SML world.
You too, Adam. We love you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Liz.
Later.
All right, next up is Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine, developed by Headup Development and Team Meat, published by Headup Publishing and Thunderful. Released June 22nd on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $9.99. Help Dr. Fetus create the perfect Meat Boy clone in a unique new twist on the tile-matching puzzle genre. In classic Meat Boy fashion, an endless cavalcade of devious and deadly traps stand between you and victory in this hardcore puzzle game that will push your skills to the limit. Grant, you're going to talk about this, but we also have a quick email from our friend Andy Sperry, who wrote in just a little bit to sweeten it up in preparation for you. So let's see what he wrote. He says, remember all the joy experienced as a child playing Dr. Mario, the colored capsules, fun soundtrack, and clever falling block combination gameplay. Combine all that with mutated clones, saws, laser beams, more saws, rockets, and all the frustrating, addictive gameplay in Super Meat Boy's hardcore platforming games to get Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine. Continuing on from the Super Meat Boy series, puzzle your way through more than 100 levels, combining clones of the same color, all while avoiding creative traps and hazards. Revisit classic levels from the Super Meat Boy series, such as the Salt Factory and the Hospital, featuring remix soundtracks from the previous games. Experience challenging boss battles with their own unique and deadly traps to help Dr. Fetus create the perfect clone of Super Meat Boy, or whatever reason he wishes. This challenging game contains hours of rage-fueled fun while offering a different approach to the addictive hardcore platform-style gameplay we expect. And Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine is available now. Grant, what are your thoughts on the game?
You say Mean Meat Machine very easily.
Yes, Mean Meat Machine.
Mean Meat Machine. I'm a fan of Dr. Fetus. I think everyone is. He's a fun character. Well, the situation with Dr. Fetus is he's trying his best to clone Meat Boy. He's not doing very well, and when you're not doing very well, you might end up with lots of bad clones. And what might you do with those bad clones when you have lots of saw blades and all kinds of other gadgetry to torture them? You might make this game. This game is basically Puyo Puyo with some twists, or some might say Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. It's so close to the name, it's kind of hilarious, but yeah.
And starring the villain.
Yes, exactly.
Who's a doctor?
Who's a doctor? Exactly.
Well, I guess Mean Bean Machine didn't really star the Dr. Robotnik. It was that other character.
Who? I don't even remember.
Oh god, I don't remember either. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Also, Kirby's Avalanche.
Oh yes.
Kirby's
less Dr. Mario. Who's not a doctor? Kirby?
Kirby.
No, Kirby's not a doctor. I don't think Dr. Fetus is either. He's like that doctor from the first Batman.
He's not board certified? What?
Do not let Kirby operate on you.
Noted.
I heard he sucks at his job.
Oh dear.
I know that joke blows.
I said unique in my review last week, and no one honked or anything.
I'm so sorry.
Really?
No one prepared at me or anything.
Really?
Sometimes I don't unmute in time. If I'm doing something noisy, then I mute. It's actually kind of my gag that I kind of reinforce.
You screamed on the inside, is what you're saying.
Yeah. The main character's name in Mean Bean Machine is Has Been.
Oh, sure. I believe it.
So Dr. Fetus' Mean Meat Machine. What's going on in this?
Well, it's basically it's in very many ways the same game, but with a twist. Let's say I won't call it a unique twist because I might get kicked out of Discord. But
unique.
The goal here is to align the little bad clones come down 2 at a time, different colors, and it's all about matching up a series of 4 to destroy them. All the ones that are down on your playfield fall to the bottom. It's very much what you'd expect from Puyo Puyo. You're filling up a meter to complete the level as quickly as possible. It does encourage chaining for points and stuff like that. You can slow down the movement of your clones as they fall from the top of the screen, although there is not a quick slam. I was a little disappointed. The first thing I do when I play a Tetris-like is I hit up just to see if it'll let me do a quick slam. That is not in this game. That's fine. Got over it somewhat. No, not there. So it's basically the same game. Some levels will be different widths. There'll be some obstacles and different places to put your clones. But the big twist of this game is the obstacles. There are obstacles you might expect from the Meat Boy universe. You've got saw blades moving around, some shooting from left to right. Eventually, you encounter ghosts. There are some pieces that you can't destroy that might fall onto all of your pile of clones, kind of like you'd expect if you're losing in multiplayer Tetris. If you hit an obstacle while you are dropping a piece, the whole level starts over again. Or you start at a checkpoint. A little bit later, you start getting checkpoints, so you don't completely have to start the level over again. It was a little frustrating to see that, but that's just the decision they've made, that you don't lose points, you just lose and you start over. The game seems to be built in it's built sort of like a puzzle. There's not necessarily a 100% correct way to beat these levels, but it is really strange that's the fail state. I think that's a little odd. But if a saw blade touches the pile of clones that have already been dropped, it just cuts them away. It removes them from the playfield entirely. And there's frustration with that as well, in that you might be trying to plan a chain. You might not have done anything wrong, and then a saw blade just sort of comes around and shaves away some of your pieces. Or they might get shot out from the left side of the screen or something like that. It's a little strange, and I think that in this game, people have talked a lot about how hard this game is, and it is, but I think it's hard perhaps in the wrong way. For me, Super Meat Boy is great because even though it is as hard as it is, it still feels fair because there's this element of control. Everything that's going on, you are in control of. And this game, you lack a lot of that control. You're sort of at the mercy of the obstacles and the things that have been put in this on the playfield to screw you up. But you can't plan for them a lot of times. They have a pattern they'll follow, but you might, for a game that really encourages you to go for chains, it isn't very forgiving as far as like considering that or setting a level up in a way that you might be able to have a chain in a specific spot. It's just a little weird, and I couldn't tell. It took me a while to realize why I was more frustrated with this game than I would be for something like Meat Boy. And I think that's the problem, is that there is so much that's out of your hands. Really, it's about getting the pieces to the bottom of the screen. If you've done that, you're successful, you've survived, and you're not going back to the checkpoint, but you're still going to have all these obstacles that are shaving away your playfield anyway. And that's pretty frustrating. I will say that the music is quite good in this game. It's not Danny B, but there's remixes of stuff I can't remember the name of the person that did the tunes for the game, but
Ridiculon, I believe.
Ridiculon, yeah, I knew it was one word. Music's pretty fun. It fits the universe. It's a bit more zany, but it's quite good. But yeah, I will say that like I think I just have a hard time with the some of the fundamental design choices around this game. I feel like for a game that encourages planning, thinking like when you're playing Dr. Mario, you're planning at least 4 or 5 moves ahead, or any game like this, any sort of color match game like this. And they just put so much in the environment to squander your efforts. And I feel like there's not really a way to get around that. There aren't really any power-ups for getting around them. They just feel kind of mean. And I feel like it really zapped my enjoyment from this game, unfortunately. So that's my take. I think that there seem to be a number of people that really like it, and there also seem to be a number of people that really hate it. But there were also a lot of people that really hated Meat Boy. And it's one of my all-time favorite platformers, right? So I think it they've priced this game at $10.
Yep.
So it does not feel like a cash grab to me. That's really kind of that is absolute low end. And then another $1 or off or something because everything's on sale always when it comes out. So they're not. It doesn't feel like another one of many Meat Boy clones to me. But I don't think it's the Puyo-like that I'm looking for, unfortunately.
Well, it is $10. Do you have an official verdict on it?
I don't think I'm going to play this game anymore. I think that I gave it a pretty good shake, and I just feel like the game is designed in a way that the lack of control causes more frustration, and it's hard in a way that makes it hard to see a way forward. It's not that, oh my gosh, if I just do this again, I know exactly what I need to do, or it's just about pulling it off. There's so much randomness in the environment, and with the variation of the colors you get coming from the top, you're never going to have the same playfield twice. I just feel like it really kind of pushes back in a way that makes it hard for me to recommend, unfortunately. So there's my take.
All right. Well,
it happens.
And anyone have any questions?
No.
No, I'm just glad it's cheap enough that if it comes down to it, I'm willing to take a chance on the game making me want to pull my hair out on difficulty.
I find all Puyo games to be too hard for me, but I also just wanted to make a point that if you happen to have the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, you've got Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine in the Genesis collection.
There you go. Is Kirby's Avalanche in the Super Nintendo?
It is. I think so. Yeah, I believe so. Let me verify that though.
For me, in Puyo Pop Fever, that's where you get it. Best Puyo games there are. The downside is to this day we never got an official release for Puyo 4, which is stupid because we should have that.
I will say that Puyo Puyo Tetris is quite good. Like I don't know how it almost feels like something that someone made on the side and they were like, check this out, and then it just snowballed. That's a great game. That's a fantastic mashup. I feel
like.
The first Puyo Tetris didn't hit Xbox in America.
Oh, weird.
What about the second one?
Yeah, it's on. But I have the first one import on Xbox.
Kirby's Avalanche is on the Super Nintendo Switch Online collection.
Yeah, there's a couple comments here. One is about the combos in the game helping, giving you invincibility. Absolutely true. If the bigger combo you get, the longer the invincibility is. But that just helps you get your pieces down to the playfield. They're probably that get chopped away anyway. The game I think does have a lot for it, but yeah, it's definitely not for me. And if there's a demo, then definitely try it out.
Yeah, there is a demo on the Switch. I don't see one on Xbox, but it might be there. But there's definitely a demo on the Switch, so you could give it a try there.
Sweet.
Yeah, Grant, that's it for you. You gonna stick around or are you heading out?
Yeah, I'll hang around. Just a few more, right?
Just 3 more.
Just a few more.
I want to check them out.
Cool. Next up, Aliens Dark Descent, developed by Tindalos Interactive, published by Focus Entertainment, released June 20th on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC for $39.99. Drop into the gripping journey of Aliens Dark Descent, a squad-based single-player action game in the iconic Aliens franchise. Lead your soldiers in real time to stop a new and terrifying kind of xenomorph outbreak. Pernell, where's the aliens?
In the game. It's in the title, right there.
Did they eat you?
No, they descended darkly.
Oh.
There's a difference, Joe.
In the game.
So the game, they get you in this game because goddamn. So this is an interesting product that I did not expect to see ever exist. This is a real-time strategy horror game in that you are engaging as a group of Marines under the command of one primary character and like a military leader as you're trying to decipher a situation that game plays out early on as far as pretty much the tutorial goes, but essentially an alien outbreak on a planet. And it is done by way of you taking on missions from a command deck and sending out Marines into the field to fulfill tasks as the mission requests. So think of a map, think of like an XCOM map, with that top-down style and your characters moving, but instead of you having to say, okay, I'm going to move this unit here and that unit there in a typical turn-based style, instead, you're moving an entire cluster of Marines en masse by directing them across the map. You press the X button once, they walk, you double tap it, they run. Unfortunately, whenever they run, it's accompanied by time, which, don't get me wrong, it's kind of cool early on, but then when you get to a situation later on when, quietness is a factor and you're a little nervous about what's going on, and you hear the guys talking like, is this actually a factor in these aliens finding me? The fact that he won't shut the hell up? Can he at least do the thing where he waves his hand? But anyway, I digress on that. So, as you're exploring the map, it's very much a horror style in that your units have health, they have equipment that has ammo in it, they also have essentially a series of abilities that they can perform on the field that are monitored or managed by depletable resources called command points, and also things like tools and medkits. Medkits being used to heal units, tools being used to fulfill a variety of functions like welding doors shut and accessing maps and other functions that require you to get technical with it. So what am I dealing with out here? What is the whole point of exploring these maps? Why do I have Marines and not, children with, toys? Well, the reason is because these are dangerous grounds, son, and aliens and jerkbag humans and other humans, sometimes robots or drones rather, will come into play and cause you problems. And if an enemy sees you, most notably a xenomorph, if a xenomorph spots you, you immediately go into pew-pew mode. Your guys start blasting shots off like crazy, hoping to kill these things while the xenomorph is blitzing you. In addition to this, the xenomorph itself will set off a hive alert, and any other xenomorphs in the area will come rushing towards you as well. Basically, you're in trouble. Fight hard, fight fast. And even though you might be thinking there's not a lot of options for you to function since the guys are firing their guns automatically, the truth of the matter is you do get other abilities that I mentioned earlier that use command points. You might better unleash a shotgun blast or set off like a turret that can help you in combat as well. Grenade launchers, etc. These are all abilities, not weapons per se. And they are able to assist you with dealing with the threat that's approaching you. The only way to make the alert go away is to either avoid detection by finding a place to hide when enemies aren't seeing you and hope they never come into contact with you. Or just straight up hang out long enough when you're not being seen, basically kill enough guys that are in the area, hopefully all of them, and it'll drop off. But even still, even if you manage to succeed there are still problems here because, and then one, the longer you remain detected, the higher the alert meter goes. And even if you eventually remove the detection situation, the level that it has progressed will stay intact. And the higher it gets, the more aggressive the aliens get. And the more aggressive the aliens get, the harder you are to deal with. So eventually you get to the point where you might have to extract your team early just to not get your face ripped off. And the funny part, they're not always just trying to kill you. There's been situations while I was playing the game where they'll knock a guy down, and while two aliens are attacking you, the third one will try to drag your soldier away, probably to impregnate them and have monsters hatch out of their butts, out of their chests, like chest bursters or whatever.
Well, speaking of
blood bursters are even worse.
Speaking of being drug away and impregnated, big shout out to Victor for the sub.
What? That's big. How?
Yeah, I don't know how that one works, but Victor, thank you so much for the sub. Always love having you here.
I don't know what I'm doing. So you basically find yourself juggling stress and dealing with this onslaught of critters. And the stress can trigger negative traits that the characters have, poor aiming, erratic behaviors and the like a horror movie. Basically, don't let your characters get too stressed out. And the way to really get the stress to come down, though it doesn't always seem to work, because I guess you have to also be in a calming situation when it happens, is if you find a room and you're able to weld every doorway into the room shut, basically giving yourself a safe haven, you can activate the rest function, which will reduce your stress by a count of 90, which is important because the moment it goes over 100, that's when the negative crap starts to happen with your team. And it's interesting to see that kind of thing happen. It feels kind of like a real horror game, because to weld the door shut, you need tools. Tools are in limited supply, so you're looking for corpses that might have some on them. Meanwhile, you might get a blip on your radar if you set a motion detector on the ground that shows you, oh, crap, there's an alien nearby. You better hurry this up. So I definitely did feel the tension there. And honestly, I'm not that good at this game yet. Maybe because I was a jerk who doesn't normally play games like to still put on the medium to hard setting, because, I can't do easy. It's something in my blood. I'm not proud of that. But it ends up resulting in me dying a lot. Fortunately, though, the game does do a fair bit of auto-saving, which allows you to kind of retry stuff. If you feel like you made a big mistake, you can go a few areas back and set it up again. Worth mentioning, because I didn't mention it earlier, remember how I mentioned you can use command points to fire off skills sometimes in the middle of combat? Well, by default, when you go into the skills menu to select one of these, the game doesn't stop. It just slows down, which means
no.
Things are still... I'll get to the thing that saves you on that one, mind you, but early on I was like, oh, this is insane. I'm not feeling this. I'm not good enough to not let the game stop as I fumble with the freaking bumpers to find the skill I want. But fortunately, whether it was there early on or patched in later, you can actually pause the game and make it so that when you do one of the skills menu, the game does stop, allowing you to freaking choose what you want. Because holy crap, when you're dealing with a bunch of Xenos and that happens, I don't know what to make of it. And also worth noting, which is where the horror part comes in, just because you put a motion detector down doesn't mean you can see everybody on the map. Thank God for autosave, because there was definitely a time or two where I'm like walking, like, okay, the sensor tells me there's an alien up north, and there's an alien to the east, so I can cut across this unused pathway and get by, and all of a sudden, boom, two dots appear right in front of me because they were waiting for someone to cross that bridge. I'm like, fuck this.
And you hear Nelson go,
start over, reload a file, I'm save scumming, and I don't care. There it is. There's the one.
There's a sound effect I need to get for the show.
And then you have scenarios where you're like freaking escorting survivors out. You got to keep them from being killed off while you're walking them around with aliens all over the dang place. This game can get surprisingly tense. I wager some people will get good enough that they're just like, okay, it's all rote now. I know what I'm doing. I'm not that guy. And I acknowledge that. But I like what's going on here. And if you're able to, heaven forbid, survive a mission or two and get back to base, you're able to send injured people to the sick bay. You're able to go do research for like new weapons and equipment. Your characters will level up and you can get new traits and skills. However, if a character does die, they stay dead, perma-death. And a new soldier can be recruited starting at level 1. So good luck with that. But that's the thing about the game. I mean, they want to lay on the horror real thick. So they make you manage supplies, they make you manage units, and you have a limited number of days to complete the game. You can leave missions early if you feel as though the danger level has gotten too high, or you feel as though you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. You can call an APC to your location or near you, run out to it, and abandon ship. But the time it takes you to leave the mission, and any time it takes you to recover to go back out there, costs you days. And if you don't pull off what you need to pull off, well, I got a bad feeling, bro. Yeah, they do give you a number of days, so don't screw that up. All in all, I feel like this is an interesting piece of product here in that it's doing what I wouldn't have expected a game to do. And some people might be thinking about this and going, this isn't what I signed up for, especially if you're doing weird things like trying to get your units to hide behind a desk You're like, I can't make all 4 of these guys to hide properly. What the hell's going on? And you find yourself being weirdly annoyed by telling people what to do in the game and such. But when it works, it works. And I feel like this is the kind of experimentation in games I like to see more of, in that you find yourself feeling like, okay, if the game works and I felt like I enjoyed it, I feel comfortable recommending it to others to try, because some people might not like this. I get it. But it might be because they just find themselves thinking, well, this combination doesn't gel for me. But it's so undone that if you like either style of game, it's worth giving it a try to see if the combination suits your fancy. And for me, it does suit my fancy. And I like what happened here. This is a good product.
Cool.
Difficult product.
Well, it
but
is
a good product.
$39.99. What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly think is a high-end try it / buy it. I think I'll give it a buy it. Screw it. I think it's a good title. Though I am going to ask Stemage, who is new to hearing me ramble about gibberish, how did that come across to you? Do you feel as I was like, yeah, I got a general idea what the hell's happening? Or are you like, I feel even more lost than when he started talking?
I'm used to hearing your gibberish. So does that mean I'm not qualified to answer that question? I feel like I get it. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's one I was kind of interested in anyway. So it was interesting to hear your perspective and your fuck it. It's a buy. I think it's what you said.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
All right, and then there's one other question. There is a recon pack that is available for $3.99. It gives everyone on your team black camo armor and a unique feline companion to liven up the ship.
What? Yes.
Like a bobblehead?
A cat for your base.
Meow, meow, meow.
A kitty. Is it
kitty? Why that is unique?
Is it worth $4 for a kitty companion in your base?
I don't even know. My first thought was, does the camo armor actually work as camo armor, or is it just cosmetic? Because if it actually masks your presence better, oh god,
it's probably
if
just
you're struggling, just buy it. In that case, man, you know me.
No
cosmetic,
kitty.
I'm keeping my money.
No kitty.
And no kitty. If it ain't bursting out of nobody's chest, don't need it in an Aliens game. Not for money.
Cool.
Though, maybe some levity. Who knows?
I mean, they're making a lot of Aliens games. You know?
Yes, they are.
I mean, it's a surprising number, I feel like. I mean, they do every couple of years. Wasn't there was the really bad one and then another one?
There's Fire Team Elite. They had
that was
Isolation.
Yeah, Isolation. But then there was what was the one that people were all bummed out about because
Alien versus Predator? Or no, Alien.
It wasn't Fire Team. Fire Team was more recent.
Yeah, Fire Team was the last one that came out.
Yeah, people kind of like that one.
But the thing that surprised me the most about Aliens here is the fact that apparently I had no idea that the Aliens universe was so freaking dense. Like, apparently this franchise is getting new, like, not just new games, but they're expanding the lore. Like, it's Xenomorphs. What more do I need?
Colonial Marines was the shitty one.
There you go. That was the one.
It was the super shitty one.
And I have the collector's edition for it.
The Xenomorphs are learning how to manipulate the tax system.
Sorry.
We're in lots of deep trouble now, guys. What do we do?
Has a cool statue with it, so not a huge loss. Anyway, we're going from aliens to zombies with Raging Bytes. Zombies, developed by Hit Point, published by KEMCO, released June 27th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $14.99. Raging Bytes is a story-driven zombie RPG full of drama and pixels. Survive the Raging Bytes with difficulty levels for all kinds of players. Dive into this post-apocalyptic world full of zombies and turn-based battles. I can't talk.
I thought you were about to say unique zombies.
Yeah, full of unique turn-based battles. Chris, what's going on in Raging Bytes?
Well, first off, just in case you KEMCO super fans are a little confused, this game in Japan is called Zombie of the Dot. I have no idea what that means, but anyway.
I think we got the better title.
Maybe. I mean, Bytes with a Y, that's kind of like 80s video game humor, isn't it?
Oh, like pixels, like dots.
Yeah, like Zombie of the Dot. And because I'm like, I don't really get what of the dot means, but maybe that means something different in Japan. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so I'm excited about this one because not only is this a KEMCO RPG, which, as you know, we tend to do the same review for that game all the time. No, but as I mention every single time, the real good, like, hidden treasures of the KEMCO, RPG, per month. What do you call it? The monthly RPG from KEMCO?
Pretty much.
Are the games that are developed by Hitpoint. I love Hitpoint. Unironically, I go out of my way to try and review and or purchase all the games that come out. And the last one I did was Gale of Windoria, which was some time ago now. And so I'm always excited when Hitpoint comes out with a new RPG. And boy, did they come out with something new. I dare say I have not played a game like this, and that's wild coming from, KEMCO. At the end of the day, that's pretty wild coming from KEMCO. However, this actually is an RPG that does feel like a Hitpoint RPG. Let me explain. So, this is the apocalyptic future, except that actually it's the 1970s. This is an alternative reality where a virus, it's zombies by way of virus. Virus has created zombies. And they even have a cute little, hang on, I'm going to pull it up because I took a screenshot of it. They even have a cute little reason why it's even called zombies in the first place. Let's see. It is...
I'm not editing any of this, by the way.
No, that's okay. No, you don't need to.
Yeah.
I might not even have it. Zoning out madness bite infectious erosion. That's
what?
AK. That's the acronym for zombie.
Nice.
Zoning out madness bite infectious erosion.
Wow.
So that's how they lure.
Wow.
That's how that. Yeah, I love. So zombie things. It's always weird to come into a zombie story because either zombies already exist and it just so happens that now they're real, or they have to invent some way of describing the Walking Dead and how they function without already knowing it. And this one chose the latter, and they really aim for the moon with it. Whether they pulled it off, I don't know. But anyways. You start off the game as a lady, which gave me high hopes that this would be the first KEMCO RPG I've ever played that has a female protagonist. But then the gaze quickly shifts over, or the view quickly shifts over to Ben, who's not only a guy, but he's a cop. And he awakes in the hospital with all of the staff and doctors and everybody gone. And the only thing in the hospital besides a big mess are a bunch of body bags that keep twitching around. And so, you get to start off the game in this very spooky kind of way, except that it's a top-down 2D RPG. Kind of 32-bit-ish. Like, think about, like, maybe Suikoden or even, like, Star Ocean in terms of, like... but all 2D in terms of graphics. It's like a little fancier than Super Nintendo. So yeah, but Ben eventually meets up with Barbara, and they, who is a doctor, by the way, and they learn what's going on, or rather, she kind of fills them in, that zombies are now out there, and they got to be dealt with. They got to travel back to Philadelphia. Thought you might like that one.
Oh boy! Wow.
Or
better.
Yeah, they can't. They have Philadelphos is what it's called. They have like sound-alike names for like all the cities and stuff. So I thought you might appreciate that one. And they, along the way, like they find every location they've gone to has been overrun by zombies. And as the story unfolds and they find out more about what's going on through scraps of paper, the odd phone call that gets cut off suddenly, and meeting other survivors. It's basically walking around cities which act as dungeons where zombies are going to chase you on the world map. You can run away from them. You have a limited amount of time that you can run. But eventually you're going to have to face them in battle. Now here's the cool part is fighting zombies in battle. So like an RPG, so it is turn-based. Your characters have a short-range weapon and a long-range weapon and a special skill. the zombies are going to start off further back, and every turn they're going to move closer towards you. Some of them can move 2 spaces closer towards you. Some of them can throw stuff at you from a distance and then move forward. There's all kinds of zombies that do all kinds of strategies. And you get to start off throwing stuff at them, like with your distance weapons, which include guns. But the thing about guns is that there is limited ammo. You find it off of other corpses and abandoned vehicles just around, but it is limited, so you can't use a gun if you run out of bullets. So you could choose to use your high-powered gun, or you could throw a dart or a rock. And those actually do work. And you could also choose to use a special skill. Special skills are actually infinite. So Ben's special skill, for instance, is throwing a rock, which is just gives him a permanent projectile that doesn't need ammo, which is it's pretty good power, but obviously not a gun. Barbara can heal every turn, although it's not a whole lot. You can also use serums that you find to heal more, and those are also limited. So once you run out of those, you're screwed. And yeah, it's survival horror, but in a turn-based RPG. And then, yeah, like I said, when these zombies get right up on you, then you can use your melee weapon, and those will have a balance between power and knockback. So a hand axe will not have as much power as a knife, but it will knock the zombie back so that you can continue throwing rocks at it. But if you use your knife, you do a lot more damage, and if you end the battle with the knife, then you don't take any damage. But anytime you use a melee weapon and it doesn't kill the enemy, you just automatically take some damage. So, and damage does not heal between battles. The only way you can heal yourself is through serums, in battle with Barbara's medical skill, or by talking to gumball machines, which also save your game. Yeah, they're basically, they decided to make the checkpoint a gumball machine for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, you just travel along. The story is really interesting because they keep enough information away from you, and to keep you guessing and keep you wanting to find those letters and journals and news reports and piece together what's going on. The characters don't, characteristically with any of these kind of RPGs, the characters don't have a whole lot of development in and of themselves. But, at least you do get to find out their stories, and you do care enough about them to protect them. And yeah, it's just way cool. It's, like I said, pixel art. There's chiptune in the soundtrack, although the soundtrack is sparse. Mostly you're going to hear short loop tunes that might play way in the background, or once the zombies attack, then you get the pulse pounding battle music. Boss fights are way cool. They're usually kind of puzzly. That is to say, just shooting at a distance and stabbing it when it comes up close is not always the way with bosses, and they can do a lot more damage, so you really kind of have to think on your toes. And all of this is basically having played I've played every hit point game since they started getting good, which was about, they used to have really just very starter RPG kind of things. But then I would say about the time Chris Serino came out, that was a pretty good one. And maybe even a little bit before that. But I played all of them, and I've beaten a few of them. So I actually do recognize the RPG gameplay, the skills, the turn order, and the strategies all remind me of these RPGs I like so much. And yet the game is effectively a survival horror game. It's not too brutal on the jump scares. Obviously there's blood and gore everywhere, but it's not you see the zombies, and sometimes they'll bust through walls and stuff like that at you, and sometimes you will get a little overwhelmed and have to run away, but it's not it's pretty light on things like jump scares and whatnot. So it's way more adventure than it is horror, but it's weirdly enough, this is one of the very few things having to do with zombies that I genuinely enjoy.
Oh, it's $15. What is your verdict?
Oh yeah, this is definitely worth $15. I mean, there's enough RPG here to go around, and like I said, this is utterly unusual. No, I mean, honestly, if I were to throw the U word around with any kind of sincerity, I would give it to this game. Just because, again, I'm an old head when it comes to RPGs, and I've never played a zombie survival horror RPG that did both effectively, and this does that. And so it's a really, this is a one-time experience. So I mean, like, this is definitely not like you play one KEMCO game, you've played them all kind of deal. Like, even among the hit point games, which are kind of samey in and of themselves, you know, like Monster Viator is like Legend of the Tetrarchs is like Gale of Windoria, you know, in a certain way, but they change enough to make them interesting, but like they keep the core the same. But Raging Bytes, actually, they switch it up even there. So yeah, this is worth keeping an eye out for. Might even be like one of those hidden gems.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, one last game. Aki, are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm good now.
You're good?
I got this. Yeah.
Got this? You're in the zone?
Yeah, well, mostly.
AutoZone.
In the zone.
Glad to hear you're feeling better.
Yeah, it just takes time for my brain to reboot. That's all.
Cool. Well, final game to talk about tonight is the Bookwalker Thief of Tales, developed by Do My Best, published by tinyBuild, released June 22nd on Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and PC for $14.99, also available as part of Xbox Game Pass. The Bookwalker is a narrative adventure in which you play as Etin Quist, a writer-turned-thief with the ability to dive into books. Use your powers to journey between reality and book worlds and steal legendary items like Thor's hammer and Excalibur to restore your ability to write. Aki, what is going on in the Bookwalker?
Okay, so as already mentioned, you play as this guy. Turns out he was arrested for, I don't know, and as part of that,
helpful.
yeah. I don't know if it even tells you what he was arrested for. But part of that is that writing is a really big thing there. So when you get arrested, they put shackles on you that somehow give you writer's block.
Huh.
For, you know, however many years. And, you know, a long normal amount is apparently 2 years, as you find out very, very quick into the game, because you have 30. You did a something. I don't know what the something was, but you did a serious something. As Timber suggested, maybe he was arrested for bad writing or something. That's possible, because writing seems to be like this big, major, important thing in this world. To where, like, he's not even allowed to interact with other writers while he's under this house arrest, I guess is what this would equate to, or something. He's no longer in prison, but he's still basically shackled to where he can't write. So he's not even allowed to interact with other writers. And so he contacts this company because all these publishers are like, if you work with us, we'll cut years off of your time, and so on and so forth, but we also won't pay you for any of your work, because so you contact this group, and they will give you special jobs you can do, and at the end of it, they'll unshackle you, which is super illegal, because they're doing it super illegally. And part of this is they send you this giant case, basically, and inside of it is a book, as well as a space to put something, and a card that tells you, hey, we want you to go into this book and steal this item from the book and put it in here and then give us the case back. You do this 6 times, you're okay. We'll unshackle you, even though that is super duper highly illegal. And you're like, all right, cool, fuck yeah, let's do this, because I want to get back to writing and have my normal life back, and so on and so forth. So you end up having 2 different gameplay styles. When you're in the real world, it's a first-person game, and you basically walk around the 2 floors of your apartment building, which has like 5 or 6 rooms total in it.
Can I throw in a quick gripe, since you mentioned the first person?
Sure.
No invert. There's no invert camera.
Boo.
Because they're not blasphemers like you are.
You shut your goddamn mouth.
So, the walking around in the real world isn't super useful. It could have been almost entirely cut from the game. You don't do it a lot. You do it when you're picking up the cases and putting it on your desk, as well as when you have to answer the phone, which happens before every mission. And then sometimes during missions, you have to leave the book and go get an item that's in the real world to bring back into the book, because you get to do that. Because I don't understand how these powers work, but you can do that. And the other part of the game is this isometric view that reminds me of old dungeon crawling games, to be honest. And in it, you dungeon crawl, actually, basically, through a fragment of the story that you've gone into, a fragment of the book. And in the very first one, you find a little piece of paper, basically, from another book in this book that will talk to you and somehow can read the book you're in. Something that you apparently didn't bother to do for reasons I can't comprehend. So they help you out in the book as you're trying to, get around in it by giving you hints and basically giving a little bit of banter. They're really fun. I like them. But the rest of that isometric thing is kind of a point and click game, sort of. You move around, and as you move around, you don't have like a cursor that you move around the screen. Instead, it's just whatever you're looking at is what you get to interact with, which is a gripe of mine that I have, because it makes it very hard to get into things. You have to be looking at the item that you want to interact with, and sometimes it's just a little fucky, and it just doesn't quite want to actually let you look at the thing that you're trying to clearly look at. And sometimes you get to interact with things and pull them around. That's really finicky on whether that ever wants to work as well. And sometimes you get to interact with things and it gives you choices. For instance, in one area, you can just pull these wires. You just find some wires and you're like, let's pull these, because, it's not like they're live or anything, even though they are very clearly fucking live. And you get two options with it. You can, if you have a pair of pliers, I believe it is, you can pull them out with the pliers, or you can just grab them with your bare ass hand and yank them the fuck out. If you do the latter, you take damage. You take 1 point of damage.
You're giving away info.
It's fine.
Don't give away solutions. You're going to ruin it for people.
It's fine. And in this, you get, I think it was 5 points of health, I believe is what you start off with. Thankfully, if you run out of health, it doesn't really seem to do anything realistically, because you get kicked out of the book, but then you can just go right back into the book and you're exactly where you fucking were. It's like, but now you also have full health and full ink. And ink is more or less your stamina / magic bar, more or less. Because you can do special things with ink that makes up part of who you are when you go into the book. And for that, anytime you get in a fight with these weird spider monsters that show up, like doing a normal slash takes 15 ink. Then you get an ability that can stun all the enemies on the screen. That takes 30 ink. Then there's a drain that'll give you 30 ink. And basically, it's all becomes a turn-based battle anytime you fight. And you can see what each enemy is going to do, because right above their head, they say whether their next turn is going to be idle or whether they're going to hit or a strong hit or so on and so forth. So you can actually figure out what to do just based on what are they going to do, which is really, really fun. It took me until I was in like chapter 3 to actually realize that that's what that was above their head. I'm an idiot.
Proud of you. I'm also proud of the fact that the store page has 2 uses of unique on it. The first one is delve into remarkable book worlds, each with its unique rules and challenges. And then you can test your ingenuity with unique puzzles that encourage thinking outside the box as you freely travel between fiction and reality, gathering valuable items to overcome obstacles. Gotta love the unique count. Aki, this does sound like a unique one. What are your thoughts on this for a $15 game? Is this something that is like has the longevity? Is this something that has the ingenuity? I was watching Timber play on the ID stream earlier, and it looks really, really, really cool, but it also looks kind of daunting.
I thought it was really fun. I don't find it particularly daunting because there's not really a fail state so much, since you get kicked out of the book and go right back into it. There's from the achievement list, it seems like there's only 6 or 7 books you go into, and they're not super long. I think the longest one took me like an hour and a half of what I played. There is replayability because there are choices you can make in the game, and some of them you make one choice, you get an achievement, you make the other choice and you'll get an achievement. There's no manual saving in this game, so you choose a choice, and that's just it for that playthrough. So you are expected to play at least twice through the game. There are some issues with the game. It is really janky as shit. Your character,
janky as shit.
Yeah. Occasionally your character, you're walking and then the character just stops and then gets stuck on nothing, and you have to wiggle the controller around to try and get them to back up so you can move them around the nothing that they got stuck on. And again, sometimes you have trouble getting into boxes to get items and being able to move some of the movable boxes around. All of it is kind of janky and finicky on whether it wants to work properly or not, and how many times you have to try it before it will work. There is also a pretty major problem for anyone who is doing it on Xbox specifically. I believe is the only one where it has a problem. I don't know if it's on PlayStation anymore. I don't remember. But on Xbox, there is a pretty serious issue. It seems like once you hit Chapter 3, everyone's game gets kind of completely and utterly fucked. Yeah. There apparently is a lot of glitches and problems in the third book specifically that just prevents people from continuing the game. They are aware of it. They are working on some patches now. The port just seemed like it didn't quite get stuff over. So they need to fix some things. So I only got partway into book 3 myself. Because at one point I had to leave the book to go get an item, and when I went back into the book, my character won't load in.
Man.
Yeah, so like I'm in the book, I can see the stuff in the room that I'm in the book, but my character won't load in, so I can't move them around. It's not like just that visually they're not loaded in, but they're actually there. No, they're not there, so I can't do anything.
Well, I guess in its state at $15, what are your thoughts?
I have to say no at the moment. I think, wait for 5-ish months maybe. By then they should have hopefully all of the problems with the game completely ironed out. And at that point, I think it'll totally be a buy. Because from what I've played of the game, it is really fun. I like the concept of entering a book and stealing stuff from the book. And, oh yeah, once you steal it from the book, it's not in the book anymore, ever again. I don't understand how that works. But yeah, it's just a really interesting concept. And I think it's a really cool looking game. So yeah, I think it's totally worth it. I would just pull it off from now until they've patched it, and just to make sure everything's working properly.
Sounds good.
Because it kind of sucks when you get like partway through Chapter 3 and you can't play anymore. And it's like, I want to finish this game so bad.
Well, we will keep an ear out for any updates, and if anything pops up, I'll let you know, and we could take another look at the game.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, well, that is it for this episode. We made it through.
Huzzah.
Thank all of y'all for being here. Grant, for music, I hear you worked on something recently.
Are we talking about the Viking Guitar Jam? So we're talking about?
Of course.
Yeah, new Viking Guitar Jam went up.
Sign me up.
We did an arrangement of we did a medley of music from this old game Tyrian that Alexander Brandon wrote in his early days, DOS game that Viking Guitar Peabody was big into. And we got Alex Brandon on the track. So he's wailing on synths while we do our thing. And it was a whole lot of fun. So it's a fun song. Check it.
How long did it take you guys to put together?
Oh, I don't know. What year is it? It took a little while. I mean, it was just like getting stuff done. 19 giggity, exactly. 19 giggity. Almost 20 giggity, but we didn't quite get there. Yeah, the thing we wanted to do was be able to get video in there to get Alex playing and stuff. And the biggest thing was just finishing up all the video stuff. Everyone in the world is used to all the miming and the playing of the songs on the videos, but us old men, we're not used to that yet. So, but we wanted to document it with video, so you can check the track out on the show and then go see us jam.
Knick-knack on video.
Nice, and it's a long one too, clocking in at over 7 minutes long. It is somehow still shorter than every review we did tonight.
Hey, Truth. I'll have you know, my review was
long.
Well, it should be. I gotta talk the gibberish, you know.
Hey, Nintendo gives me a game, I'm going to talk about it.
Goddamn right we are.
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone have any final thoughts to end the show?
I bought my Ball Squad shirt, so
did you?
It's en route.
Sweet
well, not yet. But,
go ahead, Aki, do it again.
No.
Hey, Aki sounds different.